every time somebody walks in these doors and tries to express in their own way how much they love the space or how much it resonates with them, every one of those experiences and exchanges is a highlight.
2 years ago, Yaron Hallis turned the 110-year-old Denman Hotel into a dedicated live music venue, which is now known as QIRKZ and the Hunter. The venue is an immersive experience filled with an incredible collection of art, statues, mannequins, and other quirky creations. We spoke to Yaron following QIRKZ's second birthday celebrations. I'd love to start things off by asking you about how you acquired this gorgeous space and what your original vision was for it.
It was always about music, first and foremost. So creating a live music space, aware that there was really nothing happening in this area around the kind of Cessnock Curry, even the vineyards, no dedicated, intimate live music venue. And so that's what inspired it, just wanting to create something special. Not only a place that was multi-generational that could put on the sort of music that perhaps wasn't getting too much exposure here, but also to do so in an environment full of fun, interesting decor and objects and all my weird collections, to try and create a space that was really entertaining in itself. So before any music was played, the fact that people could come in and enjoy being in the space and finding it unusual and very different to anywhere they'd been before, maybe. That was kind of the vision behind it.
Yeah, and what do you love about music?
Well, I've been a musician for most of my life, and so the original QIRKZ, which was an underground venue in Sydney, was born out of frustrations of, not being enough places to play and wanting to find different spaces and interesting spaces to put on my own music. And because many of my friends are musicians also, they were in a similar boat. So the original QIRKZ was formed out of that kind of need. And this, I suppose, is similar, that I just, as a musician, I'm motivated perhaps in different ways to people that set up venues that are not musicians, because I'm seeing it from the perspective of a musician. What would I enjoy as a musician as far as the comfort of the backstage, as far as the stage, as far as the sound, as far as the vibe, the audience interaction, all those things are so kind of critical for a musician that I suppose I've come at it from that angle.
Tell me about how you started collecting and how you've acquired all of these gorgeous pieces that we're seeing.
I've been collecting since I was a kid, all sorts of stuff from really, I think my first collection was shells as a little kid. I was out on the beach getting my own, and then I was getting, deep sea shells, and it was, and then it was antique bottles, and there was always something. But in my later life, in my adult life, I discovered Indonesian art as a result of going to Bali a lot. And so hence why QIRKZ is just wall to wall covered in Indonesian art. I fell in love with a number of the artists' styles and just kept acquiring more and more paintings. And once you become friends with the artist, it's really hard to not keep buying their paintings. So I just kept buying. And then I just started getting really kind of obsessive, which I know is hard to imagine. But I even was on the phone every week to Jakarta art auctions and just getting more and more and more into the Indonesian art that I was discovering and getting inspired by. I also found one of the artists in particular always painted musicians, so that became my largest collection, because every painting, if we look in that direction, you can see every one of that artist basically was just something to do with musicians. And so it spawned this great passion. But there's other collections that are just still sitting in boxes that I haven't even had a chance yet to work out how to display. The concept of the original QIRKZ and this too has almost been opening my home, because we do live here as well. It's really, for me, it's inviting people into my home in an atmosphere of trust, hoping that people wouldn't want to steal anything or break anything, and just enjoy that they'll enjoy all the collections, and that it's a great backdrop to putting on fabulous music.
And considering it's your second birthday, what have been some highlight moments for you so far?
I guess some of the bands, of course, have just been so amazing and not always the most well-attended. A couple of weeks ago, we had this band on a Sunday night, which is always hard in itself, that was mixing some incredible classical musicians with some incredible jazz musicians, doing this really world-class and unusual kind of cross exploration of strings and jazz in a way that I'd never seen before. And we only had 20 people, but it was the most uplifting, exciting, it reinforced for me, why do I do this? I do this to be able to put something like that on. And yes, we may not have made a whole lot of money that night. In fact, we may have lost money that night, but it was so much that pales compared to all the positives that came out of it. The incredible experience the musicians had, that we had, that the audience had. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. And so, those nights stick in my memory, sometimes the ones that haven't been absolutely packed. It was thrilling a week ago to put on my own band finally. After 2 years, I plucked up the courage to bring my own band here. And that would definitely be a highlight, because I'd sort of, just the whole thought of wearing that many hats in one night was too stressful. And so I avoided it successfully for 2 years. And then I just thought, I can't, keep asking other bands to play when I'm not even bringing my own band.
Yes.
So, and it was amazing and a great highlight. I suppose, it sounds a bit naff, but every time somebody walks in these doors and tries to express in their own way how much they love the space or how much it resonates with them, every one of those experiences and exchanges is a highlight. And so many of them stick in my mind, because so many wonderful people have walked through these doors that didn't know what to expect. And I love that, because in a way it's even more kind of interesting to see people's reactions when they're not expecting the place to be anything other than an old pub.
Yes.
And then, they come in and obviously they're taken aback. And I guess, part of the joy and the challenge of this whole experience has been taking this old pub that was very run down, broken windows all over the place, and the carpets just looked like they'd, had many sick patrons over the years.
Right.
It was really horrendous, and it was just so gratifying to be able to completely reinvent the space, not only in terms of the decor, but just as things as fundamental as painting it and finding a new carpet that looked like it was an old carpet, which is this one. It came out of a preschool, and
no way.
Yeah, and so that really, I guess, in one kind of reflects the whole way we've done this. It's all been on a shoestring. It's not like one of those, Sydney ventures where some cynical Sydney person comes to Newcastle with a couple of million and goes, I'm going to, I'm going to do this great fit out. It's like, it couldn't have been more the opposite. We had to do a crowdfunding campaign, and everything has just been done absolutely on the smell of an oily rag. Marketplace is our best friend. So.
What do you hope to achieve in the future?
I suppose the big challenge is how to get the word out there, which is why, I love that we're talking about this now, because every time that another person sees what we're doing or hears what we're doing that might be inclined to come and visit, that in turn will snowball, because the chances are they'll have a good time and then will want to tell their friends and family. And so that's the crucial thing at this stage, is just we need to see it continue to grow. It's hard to do a live music venue anywhere in Australia at the moment. People have so much less money to spend. The cost of living is hurting everybody, and often entertainment is one of the things people cut back on. So I know, in terms of the Sydney experience, how hard it is to do a live music venue, let alone in an area that hasn't had one before, which is the case here in Abermain. So our absolute wish is that to keep these doors open, we just continue to have new people discover us that hopefully enjoy the place and want to spread the word.
Well, I hope that heaps more people get through these doors, because
Thank
it's an
you.
absolutely incredible space.
Thanks so much.